This video shows you how to mount your laptop on your keyboard so that you can read your sheet music from your computer right on your keyboard. This uses a slot in the back of the keyboard, which is provided in this case by Casio, for holding the sheet music reader. I've replaced that instead with a plywood and wood stand that holds the laptop. This is what the stand looks like. It's not bolted to the keyboard or anything. It just lifts off when you don't need it, and you can put your regular sheet music reader, which is supplied by Casio with these keyboards. It just plugs into a slot on the back there. So we're going to use that slot instead to insert a properly sized piece of plywood, in this case. Into the slot. Let me give you a look in the slot. It is about 3/4 of an inch deep and about 3/16 of an inch in width. It's slightly tapered, so you may have to sand a bit where it goes in. So let me show you how it's constructed and what are the materials that you'll need. The materials needed are just a 14-inch piece of 1x2. I just used simple pine, and a 3/16 inch thick piece of birch plywood. You can get this at Lowe's or Home Depot. You'll need about 10 of these countersunk screws, and you want to make sure that they're short enough that they don't go through both layers, so they don't protrude through on the other side. So these are pretty short, about 3/4 of an inch. I recommend to pre-drill the holes you're going to put them in. You can get an appropriate size drill and countersink, or you can use a much larger bit to do your countersink at the top. The countersink is used to make sure that the screws do not protrude above the level of the plywood, so that you have a smooth surface for your laptop to sit on. I cut a piece of plywood 14 inches wide by 15 inches initially. This is all one piece of plywood. About 5 inches up, I should say 4.5 inches, I screwed the 1x2 to the 14-inch width of the plywood. I then measured where I wanted the top of it to be and cut it off. And I cut it off at a slight angle because I wanted the laptop to have a forward rake on it to make it a little easier to reach for the arrow keys and so on if needed when turning your sheet music pages. I used a jigsaw for that, and I put the jigsaw at a slight angle so that I could cut that. If you have a table saw or something fancier, that would be good. The jigsaw is not ideal for this, but it can be done. You could do it with a handsaw if you're accurate enough. The biggest problem is getting the width of the plug-in right for the slot, and for that I had to do a bit of sanding. I had to sand it down until it just fit in there, and it's not a perfect fit, but it doesn't need to be. I used some some sanding blocks to cut it, sand it down a bit so that it would fit. I started with number 40, which is a really rough grit, and finished up with number 80, which is a bit. So that's it. It's pretty easy to make. It's pretty simple but effective. It gives you a nice way to place your laptop in a good position to read from it while you're playing your keyboard. Hopefully this will save paper and encourage people to read more music online and do more practice online. Thank you for watching.